Hello everyone, my name is Fishy Pete and I'm gonna start off a series of Terran build order tutorials, and I'll probably move on to Protoss and then to Zerg. I'm gonna pause it real fast. This first build that I'm gonna do is a really basic standard Terran build called the 111. Because you build a barracks, and then right after that you build your factory, and right after that you build your starport. This is a very basic build because it allows you to get nearly every single Terran unit rather quickly. Now, the disadvantage of this build is you're fairly vulnerable to early rushes, since instead of focusing on early army, you're focusing on teching up to starport. But like I said, this is a very versatile build, and towards the end I'll get into that versatility. Now, to start off, we're going to be pumping SEVs. Let's kind of speed this up a little bit. At 10 SEVs, you want to start building your supply depot. Now, on Scrap Station, you have kind of a big ramp, so what I like to do is I put a supply depot right here, a barracks right here, and you can build a bunker here and another supply depot here, or you can build like a tech lab. So as soon as you have the minerals at about 12 supply, you want to throw down that barracks. Now, I send this SCV out to scout because I'm playing against a random computer and I'm not exactly sure what it's got. I like to stop, just slow down for a second. I like to stop here at the Zelnaga Tower. It lets me know if any of his probes are coming by. And basically what you're scouting for is whether or not they got gas really early on, or how many say gateways or barracks they got. Now he's got one barracks and he's chrono boosting his zealot, so I gotta kind of macro my little SCV here. But in a second I'll find out. He actually only took one gas, and he's not mining it too heavily. So at this point, at about 15 supply, you want to throw down your orbital command to get your economy going. Now, I built a bunker right here, and what I should have done is thrown down a tech lab or a reactor, but I really wanted to get my second marine down in case he decided to attack me with those two zealots, because those would just devastate me right now if I don't wall in. So in a few seconds I send another SUV, since I'm getting supply blocked, to build that depot and wall in. So when you get your factory done, I like to have two refineries so I can get this, gas and tech up really quickly after I finish my starport. So I want to get my starport down as soon as possible. And now here's when you can decide really what you want to do. If he's going to go mass zealots, you want to get Hellions. If he's going to go mass stalkers, maybe you'll want to get some siege tanks, or just skip factory tech altogether and go with heavy barracks. Just keep remembering to build your supply depots. I throw down an engineering base since I had a lot of minerals. And a smart decision on maps like this especially, you want to throw down a supply depot kind of in your back. This really helps against drops, etc. So I do a scan on him. He's got a few stalkers and a few zealots. Nothing too much to worry about, even though I only have 3 Marines. So I drop down my Starport onto the tech lab, and what I'm going for is just a couple quick Banshees. Now, Banshees, 2 of them will take out probes pretty fast, but I don't want to overcommit myself on Banshees, so I can save my minerals and my gas for Marines, Marauders, and a couple medevacs. Now I'm working on infantry weapons level 1 because the build that I'm transitioning to is going to be heavy barracks units. Now, depending on who you're playing against, you'll definitely want to try different strategies. Against Zerg, I like to get out another factory or another starport. The starport, will let you pump out quite a few Banshees, and early on, there's not much Zerg can do against Banshees. I pump out this Hellion, and right now he's just got a straight line at those Zealots, just tearing them up. So if you get out some Banshees, and I actually salvaged that, it didn't blow up. Once I get a second Banshee, I think I go over here and harass his mineral line, which is an alright transition while you're building up to produce your ground army. Now against Protoss, I like to go make a Marine Marauder medevac ball. It's kind of easy mode, but that's what I like to do. So with two barracks, I get tech labs, and then the third one I'll usually get a reactor. Usually you'll want to put that reactor right where that supply depot is, or you can move it over. I don't think I actually end up getting a reactor. I opt for kind of a faster move where I medevac drop my army in after harassing with my barracks. And versus Terran, I really like to get an extra factory and an extra starport. Now, for the starports, you can put reactors on both of them, because what you really want are Vikings, and your factories will need tech labs so you can get those siege tanks, and you really want to get siege tech pretty fast. Because often it comes down to Terran versus Terran ends up being a siege tank and Viking battle, and usually whoever has the most Vikings wins. So I like to do that, or you can get creative, And against Protoss, if it's you really want to build a Ghost Academy, because EMP, it's not hard to micro, and it's really effective. An EMP on these guys would just drop their shields, and it basically dropped their health in half. Be sure to keep your medevacs safe, and if you have stem right now, stim pack, then these guys will just go down 10 times faster. You always want to be harassing their probes. The assimilator is probably not the best first target, neither is the forge, as they don't really do anything. So I think I move down here and work on his gateway. And you always want to make sure you're spending your minerals. Now, the reason on Terran versus Terran you want to have more Vikings is because your siege tanks have a range of 13, but they can't see that far, and your Vikings will give them the extra range that they need. But if your opponent has the air superiority, then he will be able to get the extra range for his siege tanks, and he'll usually roll right over you. The reason I go Marine Marauder versus Protoss is because Marauders are just devastating to all gateway units. Now, if they're going fast robo, then you could usually take them out before they get that Colossus out, or those Immortals. The Immortals are pretty good against Marauders, but if you got your Marines, then they just devastate Immortals. Now, I hate it when it does that. Against Zerg, Cloaked Banshees are great, but if you can't get those Cloaked Banshees out fast enough, because it is 200 gas, 200 minerals for that upgrade, just pump out a few extra Banshees and you should be fine.